Alright guys, welcome back to another draft analysis. I'm Ace and right now I'm into game 2 of Newbee versus SGesports. Okay, just before we go into game 2, I just want to talk a bit about game 1. I think it was pretty insane. The game was an amazing start to the first LAN of 7.07. Pretty much SGesports did what they had to do. They played a super good early game. They were very far ahead. Something I didn't mention during the analysis of last game was that the skeletons of Wave King and paired up with a Dazzle, that's a pretty insane combo in the early game. The amount of damage you get was, it's crazy. There was one kill on KP's Nature's Prophet where the Wave King summoned all his skeletons and then just one heal from the Dazzle and boom, the damage is crazy in the early game especially. Okay, so moving on, SGesports, I kind of feel like they fall off in the mid game, but pretty much because Newbee played really well. The supports created the space, they tanked the ganks, the smoke ganks from SGesports. The carries on Newbee were very mobile. They got Queen of Pain who can blink away from ganks. Nature's Prophet has Shadow Blade. He got killed once or twice, but that's fine. And then Juggernaut could have just spin TP. So Newbee did exactly what they had to do. They just split push, they avoid fights, they gave as little track kills as possible. I think from the 20 to 15 to about 30-minute mark, they died like 5 times at most, which is pretty impressive considering how far behind they were. And slowly but surely they caught up. And it really looked like Newbee had a game going into the late. Like, if the game continues to drag, I'm very sure that Newbee was going to come out on top. And it was just that one play where SGesports went with Wave King having like 3-4 lives. I think he died once with his Recarnation. He revived again and he died once with his Aegis, and by the time the Aegis came out, he had his Recarnation on cooldown off cooldown again, and then he had another Recarnation. So in that fight alone, he came back 4 times. Imagine you have a Wave King, the most farm hero on the map, that can come back 4 times. It's like that was the only timing that I felt SGesports had that they could actually make a play, and it kind of just fall into place for them. Like the way the whole fight panned out. Newbee went for the split push to try to trade 2 Rex for 1 Rex, and then SGesports just go for the base race and stuff. So it was pretty amazing. And SGesports, they had a game plan and they executed well. Something that it was different, as I mentioned, but they made it work. And it was this close. It was super close to just failing against Newbee. Newbee was playing it very well, if you ask me. They did exactly what they need to do. And yeah, it was a very very good game. If you haven't watched it, please go check it out. And also, if you haven't checked out my draft analysis for game 1, you can check out the playlist as well. Okay, so now we're into game 2. As usual, we have 6 bans now. So this time around, SGesports, they have the first pick, and they snag up the Sand King away from Newbee's side. So they want to take away Kakas from his comfort hero. I don't think maybe they feel the Sand King isn't worth a first phase ban, but yeah, at the same time they don't want to give it to Kaka. So they ban Earth Spirit Bane as well as Beastmaster. I think this is a very similar bans to game 1. And Newbee, they felt that the Bouncy Hunter was a problem. He was actually creating a lot of space, although they didn't get a lot of track kills in the mid game. He was giving SGesports a lot of vision, so they knew exactly how to move around and how to play. So Newbee, they felt it was a problem, they banned it away. And they first banned it because I mentioned it in my 7.07 patch analysis. I mentioned there will be more mind games coming into this first phase bans when there's 3 per team. You usually want to ban the hero that you don't want to play against in the earlier part, and then the meta heroes in the probably second and third. So the Bouncy Hunter ban was they ban it first because they don't know what SGesports is gonna ban, and they don't want to waste a ban on something that SGesports might ban for them. As a result, they go for the Bouncy Hunter first, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of such ban sequence. In the past, where it was just 4 bans, you don't really think too much about which sequence, or like not as much. The intricacies, you don't go into it that much. But now I think it's going to play more part. And they also banned the Night Stalker as well as IO. IO is pretty broken now, I think. And Newbee, they picked the Nature's Prophet Spirit Breaker. Once again, KP Spirit Nature's Prophet really played amazingly in game 1. It's going to cause a lot of problems, but this time SGesports, they have Sand King to deal with him. Sand King is one of the best catcher when he gets Blink and Force Staff and Barrow Strike. The amount of distance he can actually cover, it's insane. And the Undying from SGesports, it's not a good catcher, it's terrible actually. It doesn't have any lockdown. But Anzai is a very strong lane dominator. He's going to dominate the lanes. He's going to help SGesports secure the laning phase as per what happened in game 1. They might have an additional plan going into the rest of the draft that can pair up with the Undying. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I don't think Spirit Breaker is a very good hero against Sand King as well as Undying. So at this very moment, I feel I'm a bit afraid of how much impact this Spirit Breaker is going to have actually. I'm really sorry if you can hear some of the background noises. Yeah, it's a bit noisy here. Sorry about it. Okay, so moving to the second phase, Newbee they ban away Dazzle as well as NC Mage. I think this Dazzle ban is a response to game 1 where they feel that SGesports they make use of this Dazzle very well. Maybe it's one of the strategy they have planned going into 7.07. I'm not sure how the interaction between the Undying zombies as well as the Dazzle heal. I don't think there's any changes to it, so I doubt that there's it actually works on the zombies. But maybe it's just a hero that they feel SGesports is comfortable with and want to take them out of their comfort zone. SGesports they banned the Death Prophet, same as game 1, something Chinese teams are very comfortable with playing the mid lane. Ember Spirit as well, I would say one of the highest second phase ban hero. Something we have to fear for from SGesports, they are 1 game up now. I think there's a chance that they might go for a last pick Arc Warden, considering that they do have a very strong Arc Warden player in Costabel, and when better to pull it out when you are 1 game ahead and have a chance to push Newbee into the lower brackets, the best of 1 lower brackets actually. If I'm not wrong, the first 3 rounds of lower brackets are all BO1s, and yeah, it's pretty scary. Okay, so Newbee goes back for the Mugi's Ursa. I think it's one of his old school classic where he really likes to play this hero. I mentioned when you go into a new patch and you don't know what's good or what's bad yet, you tend to go for the more comfort picks heroes that you're comfortable with and you know their limitations, or even though it's a new patch. And this Ursa seems like one of it. Another thing is also it's very good against Undying's Tombstone. You can just overpower and then burst down the Tombstone. SGesports they go for Rubik, which makes me lean towards a Sand King off lane and a Rubik position 4. Rubik's actually very he has been buffed in 7.07. His null field now can be used aggressively. You can, instead of just being a defensive null field where you take less magical damage, you can now make it offensive and make your opponent take more magical damage. So it's pretty good, and he has some very good talents as well. I think he has a 70% or 75% increased damage of spell stolen, spell amplification or something. I didn't really look at the details, but I remember reading it somewhere. Okay, Newbee they go for Windsor Wyvern. Very stable position 5 hero, I guess. Nothing fancy. 7.06 he's played quite a lot as position 5. So I wouldn't read too much into this pick. It's just a defensive support that can push out wave, and pretty good against Undying heavy health pool as well, especially in the laning phase. If you can get off a few hits of your Arctic Burn on the Undying, with his stolen strength and everything, he has higher health pool, so the damage from Windsor Wyvern is actually pretty strong in that case. SGesports they go back for the Razor for, I think it's going to be 4DR playing it. It's very good against Ursa in terms of the carry matchup. Ursa wants to be in the middle of fight, right clicking people, and Razor just stand in the middle and steal his damage. It's one of the known carry counters, and I'm afraid for the Ursa right now actually. He can be kited by Rubrik, Sand King, even Undying with he's very tanky, and if there's 4 stars on the side of SGesports, I'm very afraid that the side of Newbee they're not going to be able to get their right clicks off. Heroes like Spirit Breaker and Ursa, they're very easily kited by 4 stars. And Newbee is going to need a hero on SCCC to actually have a huge impact. And I can't think of one now. Probably Templar Assassin. It's very strong in the mid game. The heroes on SGesports, they can't really deal with refractions very well. We don't see that hero very often right now, but I think it's very strong considering now denies are super good and T is one of the strong laners that can actually get denies off very well. He's also decent against Razor in the lane. SGesports, they actually go for the Invoker. Okay, so this is going to be carry Razor and a mid Invoker. The Invoker has some nice changes. The Catalysm is very fun to watch, I would say. And in general, it's just more viable now as a hero. I think in 7.06 he was picked almost like never, except for Liquid, sometimes for Miracle. Very rarely seen. We should see more of this hero now with all the changes. They have Sunstrike kills to set up from Sand King stun as well as Rubik Lift. Their laning is going to be very strong. I think it's going to be a Sand King Undying offlane. Razor can definitely hold its own against Nature's Prophet. So SGesports want to put on the pressure early on and let their Razor just have a free lane or like a safe lane on his own against Nature's Prophet, where he can survive there on his own. And yeah, I mentioned SCCC's Templar Assassin is one of the pick that I can think of, and yeah, Newbee, they decided to go for it. That was a good call. Okay, all in all, I really fear for Newbee. They have KP with the split push, but this time around SGesports have the answer. They have the Invoker which can catch pretty well, Sand King as well. And it's pretty all in on SCCC's TA right now, because Ursa it's going to be kited quite easily. I think SGesports will know that Newbee's lineup is pretty all in on this TA, and they have to they should pressure SCCC's TA during the laning phase. And if he gets pressured, if its jungle gets shut down, and SGesports can get a good start in the laning phase, I actually don't see Newbee coming back in the mid late game. They can rely a bit on split pushing, but what's the end game? Their end game is still Ursa that will get kited, and TA that I wouldn't say he's the best scaling late game. He kind of fall off. He's usually very strong because he outfarms everybody on the map. But if you're behind, it's not going to be easy to outfarm. And SGesports definitely have the answers to take this game, even if it goes late, especially with Invoker right now. So yeah, I actually gonna favor SGesports draft this time round. I feel like the Ursa pick early on by Newbee kind of punished them. Yeah, that's all for Game 2's draft analysis. If you guys like it, kindly subscribe to my channel, like my video, and you can check out all my other videos as well. I have been doing draft analysis for a few events, Star Ladder, PGL as well as ESL. You can check the different playlists, and you can check out all the Dota Pit. I'll put them all in the playlist as well. Yep, so thanks a lot for watching guys, and hope you continue to support me. Bye.